Welcome back. So recently I did a short Brian Wilson tribute video on the sad occasion of his death at the age of 82. And now I'm going to take it a step further by doing an in-depth song breakdown of a Brian Wilson classic. Deciding which song to cover here was not easy. I've already covered God Only Knows, Caroline No, and Good Vibrations in previous videos. Those are three of my favorites. But Don't Worry Baby is right on par with those. For me, it contains all the elements that make Brian and the Beach Boys great. You've got the amazing patented Beach Boys harmonies. You've got the beautiful and somewhat complex melody, nice chord changes. This song isn't nearly as complex as something like God Only Knows, but it does have a sweet little key change. And the lyrics with the theme of fast cars and teenage love, but as usual with a little bit more depth than many give them credit for. Don't Worry Baby was included on the Beach Boys' 1964 album Shut Down Volume 2 and was also released on a single, but get this, it was the B-side of the single, I Get Around being the A-side. Now, of course, I Get Around is another stone cold classic, but it just makes you shake your head. Imagine writing something this great and then putting it on a B-side. This song was a collaboration. Brian tapped a guy called Roger Christian to write the lyrics, but Brian's inspiration came from the old Ronettes gem, Be My Baby, a song that I'm sure everyone remembers.
We'll make them turn their head every place we go. So won't you please be my baby, my baby. Say you'll be my darling, be my baby now.
The story goes that one day Brian was driving in his car with his girlfriend Marilyn Ravel when Be My Baby came on the radio, and it hooked Brian immediately. He was so enraptured, he pulled the car over. By the time it got to the chorus, he was losing his mind. And then it's over, and he says to Marilyn, I'll never do anything like that. She tries to reassure him, sort of rubs his shoulder, and says, don't worry, baby, someday you'll do something just as good. And as much as I love Be My Baby, I would argue that Brian ended up doing something not only just as good, but even better. He wrote Don't Worry Baby with the intention that Ronnie Spector would eventually sing it, but unfortunately, manager/producer Phil Spector nixed that idea. Apparently, he only wanted her to record songs that he had written or co-written. And of course, as the years went on, we would find out all too clearly just what a nut job Phil Spector was. But that's probably a subject for maybe another video down the road. Ronnie did end up recording Don't Worry Baby years later in 1999. But of course, we had the Beach Boys version in 1964. And that one will never be topped. Once you're aware of the inspiration there, you can easily see many similarities between Be My Baby and Don't Worry Baby. They both have that little drum intro. Of course, there's the use of the word baby in the title. And I think both songs have a sort of simmering intensity about them. There's even a similarity in the chord progression. Both make use of a 1-2-5 progression at some point. In the Ronettes tune, it appears right away in the verse. The night we met, I knew I needed you so. Meanwhile, the Beach Boys busted out for the chorus. Don't worry, baby. Pretty cool stuff. Brian even starts out in the same key as the Ronettes tune, E major, although instead of the 1-2-5, he goes for the more conventional 1-4-5. That's E, A, B in this case. Now that goes twice, and then we get this beautiful little pre-chorus. F sharp minor is the 2 chord, B the 5 chord, G sharp minor is the 3 chord, and then to the 6 chord. Now it should be C sharp minor in the key of E, but he goes to C sharp 7th instead. That's what we call a secondary dominant. It's the 5 of 2. Again, the 2 chord was F sharp minor. C sharp 7 is the 5 of that. And it resolves back to the F sharp chord, but this time it's not F sharp minor, it's F sharp major. Very slick little key change there. But she looks in my eyes and makes me realize when she says, and now we're established in F sharp major. But as referenced earlier, he goes to the 1-2-5 for the chorus. Don't worry, baby. And I love the way they come out of it. He goes to B major, well actually B sus4 to B major. Now this is a great little pivot chord. That B major is the 4 chord of our current key, F sharp, but it's the 5 chord of the original key, E major. So it could lead us either way. And once it goes to the E chord, it's clear we've now arrived seamlessly back to the same key we started in for verse number 2. And then over top of that, you get this amazing melody. In a time where hip-hop has more or less taken over pop music, melody is almost non-existent these days, but this is an active melody. It's got wide interval leaps. He just used every single note of the E major scale there. So cool. And then one of my favorite parts comes in the chorus. Don't worry, baby. That F note right there over the G sharp minor chord implies G sharp minor 6th. Such an emotional chord. Which brings us to the lyrics, which have been described as the musical equivalent of Rebel Without a Cause. But unlike other Beach Boys tunes like Shut Down and Little Deuce Coupe, which are pure bravado, the protagonist here is plagued with doubt. He's been bragging about how fast his car is, and some guys have decided to call his bluff. Now he feels compelled to race, and he's nervous about it. But his loyal girlfriend is there to reassure him, just like Marilyn was there for Brian on that day when he was despairing about his songwriting ability. She told me, baby, when you race today, just take along my love with you. And if you knew how much I loved you, baby, nothing could go wrong with you. Don't worry, baby, everything will turn out all right. And maybe it's just me and my twisted mind, but whenever I listen to this song, I can't help but wonder if maybe there's a little bit of that old trope mixed in of a car symbolizing sexuality, and that maybe the protagonist is having some performance anxiety. Think about it. Well, it's been building up inside of me for, I don't know how long, but I keep thinking something's bound to go wrong. But she looks in my eyes and makes me realize when she says, don't worry, baby. And the next verse, I guess I should have kept my mouth shut when I started to brag about my car. Again, is the car a metaphor for sexuality? She makes me come alive and makes me want to drive when she says, "Don't worry, baby." Let me know in the comments if you guys think I'm way off base with that. Thanks as always for watching. I'm going to leave you with something very cool. Here's a little piece of the isolated vocal track from this tune. If you haven't heard it, check it out. This will definitely put a smile on your face.
But you